The Sun Devils are kicking off Big 12 play in Lubbock this afternoon against Texas Tech. Can they start the year 1-0 in conference play?
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications wherever you're getting your shows. Stay in touch by following me on Twitter at RichieBrads36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. I want to shout you guys out. We have officially hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate each and every single one of you for hitting that subscribe button. Here's to you guys, the best fans in the world. Now I need you to help me figure out a way that we can celebrate together as a channel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, so that's tomorrow, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast and a game day edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. This is going to be the new norm for ASU football games and for Locked On Sun Devils. We are moving our game day previews to game day. What a concept. So we will have coverage Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays will be the game day, and then Monday we will come back and break down the game and all that good stuff. Now, if they play on a Friday or something like that, like against Utah, then we will probably come back the next day on Saturday. We're probably looking at this kind of schedule moving forward. But as far as the game day previews look, if you're new here, let me explain to you. We are going to take a look at the offensive and defensive sides of the football. Then we're going to break down players to watch both on offense and defense. And then we round out the show with some bold predictions and a final score prediction as well. Let's go ahead and hop right into it and talk about this game day preview, starting with the offensive side of the football. And my biggest question, can ASU keep up with Texas Tech? For the last X amount of years, it feels like it's been a lifetime at this point. Texas Tech has consistently been one of the best offenses in college football. They have had no shortage of great players come through that program, whether it's been at the quarterback position like Patrick Mahomes, whether it's been playmakers out wide like Michael Crabtree. Now they've got a running back in Taj Brooks and several other guys who, I mean, you could make an all-time team on offense just within the last 15 years, and it's phenomenal. This team is no different this year. They are off to a ridiculous start as Baron Morton has already passed for just under 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That running back, Taj Brooks, by the way, has already rushed for 262 yards, 6 yards per carry. He has only played 2 games. This is a really good offense. So for Arizona State, and we'll talk about the defense, obviously, but can the offense keep up? We've seen ASU put up decent numbers this year on offense. They have scored no less than 30 points in all 3 of their games. They obviously had the explosion week 1 against Wyoming. Last week against Texas State, to me, was the most impressive offensive showing when they made the second half adjustments to be able to put Texas Tech away. And they did it without any truly standout games aside from Jordan Tyson grabbing 120 yards and a 50-yard touchdown. Outside of that, Skattebo was held to 62 rushing yards. He just found the end zone twice. So ASU was able to scrape together some yards last week, some points last week, even though the yards weren't necessarily there. So against Texas Tech, you're going to need to be able to do something similar. Hopefully you can get some more yards because that'll result in longer drives, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. You need to find a way to be able to keep up with Texas Tech because no matter how good the Sun Devils defense plays in this game, ASU is still going to need to score at least 30 for me to feel like they have a chance in this game. Again, they have scored 30 in every single game this year. It's a pretty good track record. They just need to be able to keep it up. And for what it's worth, this is a really bad Texas Tech defense. A really bad Texas Tech defense. There's no excuse for you to not be able to hang 30, maybe even closer to 40. We'll get into that later towards the end of the show. My next question, what is the run to pass ratio going to look like? In week 2 against Mississippi State, ASU ran the ball at will. Cameron Skattebo ran for 262 yards. Meanwhile, Sam Leavitt was hung out to dry, passed for under 100 yards, did not score a touchdown through the air, and struggled to consistently throw the football. Kenny Dillingham comes out after the game and says, look, I've got to be more balanced even when we're running the ball efficiently. If I am taking the ball out of Sam Leavitt's hands, then I am getting him out of a rhythm. We saw last week against Texas State a much more organized Sun Devils offense, and lo and behold, they ran for over 100 yards. Again, they passed for over 200 yards, and Sam Leavitt was able to get the deep ball going with Jordan Tyson. So it works. The question is, now that you're going up against a really bad defense and you need to score a lot of points, are you still going to be focused on trying to get that 60-40 split? Or do you lean a little more on whatever's working? If Sam Leavitt is throwing the ball at will, do you lean on him a lot and see him throw 300 yards, maybe in a little bit more? If Skattebo is off to another crazy start, do you give him the ball 30 times? I'm just curious, if one area is stronger than the other, are you going to go all in on that? Or are you still going to maintain the philosophy of, look, we need to keep this balanced no matter what? Speaking of Cameron Skattebo, is he going to have to carry this team? Literally and figuratively. Skattebo has been the offense this year. He has been the heart and soul of this team. He is one of the best kept secrets in the Big 12. He's one of the best kept secrets in the country. He is playing like a first team all conference player right now. He's Mr. Do-It-All. He runs it. He catches it. This year, unfortunately, he's not passing or punting, but you know that you can get that out of him too, as the people's running back, trademarked by the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. Is this going to be another Skattebo game? There is a chance that even against a bad defense, Sam Leavitt could struggle. He's going up against a Power 4 opponent, and the last Power 4 opponent he went up against, Mississippi State, wasn't his best game. Now, again, that there were other reasons for that, but there's a chance that we could see something similar. You may have to go to Skattebo to carry this game, figuratively and literally. Is that going to be how you win the game? Is there a chance that you win the game if you do not go all in on Skattebo, if you find a way to spread the ball around? Or is Skattebo your only choice? Defensively, I really only have 2 questions here. Number one, how and what is your plan to slow down Texas Tech? This is an unstoppable force on offense. They can't stop a nosebleed on defense, but they're going to outscore you. And that's how they've had to win football games this year. In their 2 wins this year, they beat Abilene Christian week 1, 52-51 in overtime. Disgusting. And then against North Texas, they won 66-21. They lost to Washington State. They only put up 16 points in that game. Whatever Wazoo did, hopefully ASU is going to find a way to be able to replicate that kind of performance. Now, this is still a really good offense, man. You've got Taj Brooks. Why did I already forget his name? Baron Morton at quarterback is really, really good. They have Jalen Conyers back there. We are all intimately familiar with him from his time at Arizona State. They're getting creative with him out of the backfield as a receiver, all that good stuff. I am still waiting for the shoe to drop for, is it Micah Hudson, right? Yeah, Micah Hudson, their 5-star receiver, who is off to a slow start. He's only got 4 catches for 47 yards. over the first 2 games of the year, but he's a 5-star recruit for a reason. I feel like he's eventually going to explode. Is this the week that it comes through? What is your plan to slow down the Texas Tech offense? Because if ASU is unable to get going on their own offense and they can't get to 30 points, then the defense is going to need to find a way to hold Texas Tech under 30 points. And it's been done this year, and we saw that Wazoo just walked all over them. That was also in Pullman. You're back in Lubbock for this game. This is not an easy task, even for a good defense like the Sun Devils, who were walked on by Texas State last week, by the way, before they made second half adjustments and absolutely clamped the Bobcats. Hopefully, you will have some kind of similar adjustments for Texas Tech. My last question. What can you consistently do to win matchups, whether this is coming from the pass rush or from the coverage units? What are some of the strengths that you will find and develop throughout the game that will help give you an edge to eventually win this football game? Are there matchups along the defensive line with Prince Dorbah returning, who we'll talk about a little more in just a moment, with Clayton Smith, with Elijah O'Neal, with CJ Fight, with that defensive line mostly intact, especially the edge rushers are getting really healthy? Is there going to be any kind of alignments that you really like? Is there going to be any kind of exposure you're going to find from the offensive line? How do you dial up pressure? Baron Morton has only been sacked 3 times this year. It is not easy to get after him. In coverage, there's good weapons here. Who's going to step up? Obviously, Shamari Simmons has played well. Xavion Alford has played well. You need consistency from your corners. Javen Robinson has been up and down. Keith Abney has been up and down, as you would expect from guys who are first-year starters. Linebacker, you got it figured out with Keyshawn Elliott. Hopefully, he's going to be able to maintain the middle of the field once again. Whatever you do, how do you find the consistency to be able to win those matchups? That's going to be one of the most critical factors in this game. Now, we're going to go ahead and transition over to players to watch. 2 on offense, 2 on defense, plus Sam Leavitt. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhoodgold.com. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risks. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. I also want to talk to you guys about our friends over at Home Field. Home Field is one of my favorite sponsors that we've had over here at Locked On. It's college football apparel made by the college fan for the college fan. This is vintage, premium, collegiate apparel that you can't find anywhere else. It's the best. It's based out of Indianapolis. They are focused on creating comfortable, officially licensed apparel that includes vintage designs. They have over 180 schools and counting. So even if you're not an Arizona State fan, maybe you're a Texas Tech fan that's tuning into this podcast, check out Home Field Apparel. They probably have some amazing stuff for you. One of my favorite products that they have is the football boxes. Those football boxes contain 3 never-before-seen items for your school that simply aren't available anywhere else. It's curated so fans have new gear to wear all season long and suitable for all weather conditions. Now's the best time to get on Home Field Apparel, and you can use my personal promo code ASU24 for 15% off of your purchase. Go to homefieldapparel.com and take advantage of all the great merchandise for Arizona State and other schools as well. Be prepared like nobody else with Home Field Apparel. Use promo code ASU24 for 15% off your order. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. Shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Let's talk players to watch. Now, last week I said, I don't know that I want to talk about Sam Leavitt every week because he's the quarterback. It's obvious. I heard the opposite from some of you guys in the comments that say, we need you to continue to talk about Sam Leavitt, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is we're still going to have 2 players on offense, 2 players on defense, but Sam Leavitt will be in his own little category as the 5th player. Basically, I'm going to highlight what I'm looking for out of Leavitt this week very briefly. So let's go ahead and start with Sam Leavitt. Basically, what I'm looking for is how is he going to look in his first Big 12 conference debut, and is he going to be able to expose bad defense? There's a lot riding on this game when it comes to Sam Leavitt's ability to take over, push the ball down the field, kill the Red Raiders with his legs. He is a weapon for the Sun Devils that we have seen over the first 3 weeks of the year. He's going up against a really bad defense, a defense that Arizona State should be able to expose, and hopefully ASU can find a way to outscore Texas Tech if the defense is getting lit up, which there's a very real possibility that's the case, despite how good this defense is. Sam Leavitt, are you going to be able to expose a bad defense, and how do you look in your Big 12 debut? Those are the things I'm watching from Sam Leavitt. 2 players on offense I'm paying attention to. First, obviously, Cameron Skattebo. He may be the key to the offensive success in the entirety of this game. We talked about it in the first segment. Is the offense going to be literally and figuratively carried through Cam Skattebo in this game? You could. We've seen that ASU was capable of doing that. We saw 2 weeks ago against Mississippi State when he ran for 262 yards that ASU was capable of simply giving him the football and allowing him to generate yards. We saw last week that even when the yards weren't there, and he was under 3 yards per carry, by the way, he still got in the end zone twice. He finds a way to produce. I have a feeling this is going to be a really, really big game for Skattebo. And I got a bold prediction about that we'll talk about later in the show. He needs to be, in my opinion, the focal point of the offense. We talk about whether or not he will or won't. In my opinion, I say yes. I say Cameron Skattebo needs to see the ball 20 plus times, 25 plus times, whether it's on the ground, through the air, or a combination of both. They need to get him the football. He is going to be the key to success in this game. ASU's offense is going to go as far as Skattebo can take them. Second guy on offense, Jordan Tyson. Tyson has emerged as wide receiver 1 for the Sun Devils. Is he going to be able to stack performances? He was off to a slow start to start the year, and then last week he exploded for 120 yards and a 50-yard touchdown. Can he stack good performances? Can he stack 100-yard games? I don't know. But once again, this is a really bad Texas Tech defense. So if there was an opponent for Jordan Tyson to take advantage of and be able to have consecutive 100-yard games, Texas Tech feels like that team for you to take advantage of. This is a terrific matchup for Jordan Tyson. He's also going to be a key factor in how Sam Leavitt plays in this game. Him and Leavitt are clearly in sync with each other, and Leavitt really trusts Tyson. And Tyson is going to be a key instrument, not just as wide receiver 1, but for unlocking the deep ball as well. Are we going to see that deep ball take a step forward in week 4? We saw it take a step forward last week. Leavitt still needs to work on the touch passing, all that good stuff. But with him continuing to do that, building the trust, building the confidence, building the rapport with Jordan Tyson, we should be able to see that sooner rather than later. Defensively, 2 guys I'm looking at. Number 1, Prince Dorbah. Dorbah is back. He missed the first 3 games of the year dealing with injury. He's back. He tied for the team lead in sacks a year ago with 6. ASU was off to a pretty good start with generating sacks this year. They already have, I think it's 9 through 3 games. I think they've had 3 in every game this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they have 9 sacks this year. 3 of them have come from Clayton Smith, who not a surprise at all. He's an absolute monster. They have split the sacks pretty much with everybody else. Elijah O'Neal has 2. And then you've got 4 guys who have a single sack. Is Prince Dorbah going to instantly step in and give some more juice to this pass rush that has already been good? Lining him up across from Clayton Smith is terrifying for opposing defenses. How are they going to respond to a player of Prince Dorbah's caliber lining up across from a player of Clayton Smith's caliber? I don't really know. I'm also curious how the rotation is going to look, because ASU has done a really good job getting a ton of guys involved. They've gotten JP Dieter involved. Obviously, we've seen lots of Elijah O'Neal. Clayton Smith is basically a full-time starter. Is Prince Dorbah going to really cut into those guys' time? Is ASU going to what's the word I'm looking for? To ease him in to his role with the team in his first game back from injury? That's what I'm paying attention to. Last guy on defense, Shamari Simmons. I have said Simmons has been arguably the best player on the Sun Devils, period, this year. He has been beyond reliable. He has been one of the key components playing defense from the nickel spot, being able to set the edge against the run because no team can run it up the middle, so they try to bounce it outside, and Simmons is constantly chasing them down. He's been able to force a turnover. He's that guy. Is he going to be able to do it again? My answer is yes, because Simmons is phenomenal. But this is an elite offense that he was going up against. You just call it as it is. This is an elite offense. How is Shamari Simmons going to step up? Because he stepped up great last week against Texas State. When ASU made their second half adjustments, Shamari Simmons was one of the guys that was able to step up. Can he deliver critical plays when it matters most? Against Texas State, he forced a fumble near the end of the game. Towards the beginning of the game, he absolutely laid out a receiver on some kind of swing pass, and it was a tone-setting hit. Are we going to see that same Shamari Simmons in this game? We need to, if we're being honest. We need that caliber of football player on the defense to be able to humble a really good Texas Tech offense. If you get that from Shamari Simmons, you have a really good shot in this game to pull out the win. Those are the guys I am paying attention to for offense, for defense, and Sam Leavitt as well. We're going to wrap up this podcast with 2 bold predictions on offense, 2 bold predictions on defense, and a final score coming up next. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Also want to talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel, because you've heard us talk about FanDuel a lot, and for very good reason. They're America's #1 sportsbook. Something a little different for you now. And this is something you need to capitalize as soon as possible on. Through September 22nd, that's tomorrow, by the way, all FanDuel customers bet $5. You get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with that YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. So if you're a fan of a team that's not in Arizona, like me, a Baltimore Ravens fan, or maybe you're someone else that's listening and you can't listen to your favorite team, check this out. Get that trial. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. You can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. One last time, wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in to make us your first listen of the day. Once again, a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and a shout out to all of you for making Locked On Sun Devils a 1,000 subscriber page on YouTube. You guys are the best. We would not be here without each and every single one of you. Let's wrap it up. We got some bold predictions, 2 on offense, 2 on defense, and a final score. Spoiler alert on the final score, take the over on this game. FanDuel has the over set at 59.5 points. While this is not betting advice, because I don't want you to come back and yell at me if it didn't work, me personally, I am smashing the over in this game, but we'll talk about that in a minute. 2 bold predictions on offense, 2 on defense. Starting with offense, I'm going to say Skattebo goes over 100 yards. Nothing too crazy, but I'm saying he scores not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns in this game. Yeah, he's going bonkers. Remember Kalen Ballage? Yeah, it's not quite 8 touchdowns. It's half of that. But that's going to be the performance that ASU needs out of Skattebo to be able to lift them past Texas Tech in this game. He is the offense. He is the focal point. We discussed that earlier. With him becoming that, 4 touchdowns within grasp. I don't know what the efficiency looks like. It is a bad defense, so he could very well carry the ball 20 times for 200 yards. I'm saying he's going to get over 100. I'll say under 150. I wouldn't be surprised if it was over, but I'll say over 100, under 150, but he's getting 4 touchdowns. Second bold prediction, Sam Leavitt is going to throw for 250 yards again. However, there's not going to be a passing touchdown. He will get in on the ground. ASU is getting 5 rushing touchdowns in this game, 4 from Cameron Skattebo, 1 from Sam Leavitt, as this rushing attack is going to be absolutely dynamic, but Sam Leavitt is still going to find a way to keep Texas Tech on their heels as he passes for 250 yards. 2 bold predictions on defense. Number 1, the defense is going to take Taj Brooks, one of the best running backs in the Big 12 for Texas Tech. They are going to hold him under 100 rushing yards, and they're going to hold him out of the end zone. You do this, ladies and gentlemen, you are winning this game. That is the key to their offense. That is one of the most underappreciated players in the country, and certainly one of the 3 best running backs in the Big 12. If you find a way to restrain Taj Brooks in this game, you can easily walk out of Lubbock with a win. And I'm going to say that the defense is able to step up here. Under 100 rushing yards, no touchdowns for him. What he does in the air, I have no idea. Maybe he gets 100 receiving yards, and he just doesn't have 100 rushing. But I'm saying under 100 rushing, I'm saying no touchdowns. Last bold prediction, I'm going to say that the defense is going to double Baron Morton's sack total this year. Morton, like we said earlier, has only been sacked 3 times. And I'm saying the Sun Devils are going to sack him 3 times, including Prince Dorbah getting home for his first sack in his return. ASU's defense is legit. They've done a really good job forcing turnovers this year, which is really interesting because Texas Tech, for their faults, is not turning the ball over much this year. I don't know if ASU is going to be able to get the turnovers they need. Hopefully they do. I did mention on yesterday's show, I find it more important to force quick drives, hopefully 3 and outs, and finding ways to stall out the Texas Tech offense rather than forcing the turnovers. I think if you find a way to get those quick drives, you have a really good chance to succeed and win this football game. I do think that this pass rush is going to have a good day. 3 sacks for them. Not Clayton Smith. Prince Dorbah is getting 1. You can choose the other 2 off the top of my head. I'll say Clayton Smith and Zaire Fiaseu. Just throwing that out there for fun. But I do think that Dorbah is getting 1 of those 3 sacks. Final score prediction. I said take the over in this game. There's a reason for that. ASU 41, Texas Tech 38. There is a chance that this game hits the under, but that would have to be like a 31-28 or 31-24 game for me. So you'd be flirting with the over in that scenario. This is going to be a high-scoring game. The difference in this game will be defenses because ASU has a good defense and Texas Tech does not. So as long as ASU's offense shows up and ASU has scored 30 points in all 3 games this year, they're going to win this game. The defense, even if the defense only plays one half, like what they did against Texas State, that's good enough. That's good enough. That being said, I do think that you learned a lot from that Texas State game. And I anticipate that this defense is going to come out and play 10 times better than they were last week. I am still saying to give up 38 points, but that's just because Texas Tech is so good. I wouldn't be surprised if they held them under 30 because the defense is that good. I am just, right now, I think that ASU is still finding their identity on both sides of the football. It's going to be up to the defense to get the crucial stops. It's going to be up to the offense to be able to keep pace with Texas Tech. 41-38, a high-scoring game. I could also see ASU winning a slightly lower scoring game, but regardless, I got the Sun Devils getting a win in Lubbock for a 4-0 start to the year and a 1-0 start to Big 12 conference play for their first ever Big 12 conference game in program history. What do you guys think about ASU's chances to go into Lubbock and get a win today over Texas Tech? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter at RichieBrads36. The podcast is there as well at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. And a thank you to every single one of you for subscribing on YouTube. I cannot begin to express my gratitude to you guys for getting us to that number. You're the best fans in the world. I wouldn't want to be right here recording for anyone else. Just do me a favor. Leave some ideas in the comments for how we're going to celebrate together as a channel. It's got to be legal. So unfortunately, I can't jump into the Tempe Town Lake, but I'm open to just about anything else. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. We will be back again on Monday as we take a look at how this game panned out. Hopefully it'll be a win, but we'll take a look at the good and the bad regardless, break down some takeaways, and if they get a win, we'll hand out some game balls. So I will see you on Monday. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun.